Hey Drew, good to see you.
How's it going?
Going well. Florida Atlantic has struggled some defensively. What are you seeing out of them? Well, I mean, they're ranked very low in all key categories in terms of FBS rankings, and their run defense has struggled. Obviously, you have the number one rushing defense in the country. Do you feel like that's the formula to run on this team?
Well, I tell you what I see on film. I see some athletic kids with some size that play hard, and they've played some pretty explosive offenses so far. They've already played South Florida. They've already played Memphis. I think Florida International is really good on offense. They've played some tough opponents, and they were in those games. Especially the South Florida Memphis. They were in those games till the end of the third quarter. I mean, they were right there, and so I see good athletes. I see kids that are playing hard. I see kids that are playing that get off the blocks. So they have my attention. And I know you can look. I know what everybody says about statistics and all that, but you could argue this is the best defense we've played this year. Um, and I've been staring at the film for 2 weeks, and I think they're pretty good. I think they're going to win some more games, and we're going to have to really play well to move the ball because we're going to have to control the ball. So they're on offense. They snap it about every 10 seconds and throw it all over the place. We're going to have to do a better job than we did against Temples. In the first half of making sure we're controlling some tempo and keeping the ball and playing complementary football. So it's going to be a big challenge because like I said, they've impressed me on film.
I was just talking to Hoke Smith about the fact that going into the season, this offensive line was considered a question mark with so many new starters, and then they just got named to the Joe Moore watch list, which indicative of playing well, and obviously the rushing yardage speaks for itself. Are you proud of how this unit has developed and gone from question mark to Joe Moore watch list?
Sure, I think they've done a really solid job. Obviously, Jay Guillermo and Tommy Laurendine have done a great job coaching them, and we've been able to, guys have played good solid ball, and obviously within our system, uh, you know, we don't want to get in a situation where people can pin their ears back and rush the pass, all those things. So, they've done a good job. We've been able to run the ball. They've been able to get a hat on a hat. They've played physical, and that's all we can ask, is that they give our skill guys opportunities to make plays, and that's what they've done. So yeah, I've been really pleased. Obviously, Ben Purvis has played really good. It's good to have Cam back out there. Hoke has been a leader out there, and then you've had some young tackles that have done a solid job. So yeah, really proud of those guys, and we need them to keep improving. Um, and they've got 6 games under their belt, so they're no longer young guys anymore. They got to go play well for us to have a chance to win.
With regard to Blake, nobody's talking about him at all as for the Heisman Trophy, even though he's putting up such great numbers and making winning football plays like he did against Temple. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I mean, I think Blake's a great player, and I think Blake, as much as anybody in the country, Blake fits he's a quarterback that fits what we're doing. Like I don't know of another quarterback in the country who fits their particular offense any better than Blake does. Obviously, Blake is critical for us. He's made an unbelievable amount of plays. His leadership, and just how timely some of the things are that he's doing. And he always just kind of stays calm, cool, and collected, doesn't panic, doesn't he keeps playing, he keeps being positive with his teammates, and I think he's a really good football player, and I'm glad he's on our team. But I do think he's worthy to be talked about for a lot of awards. But I don't think he worries about that a whole lot. He just plays, and I like the way he is, and but I sure am glad he's on our football team.
Let's go to Wyatt.
Hey, Coach. So as you talk about the importance of controlling tempo and making sure that the offense doesn't stall, against a team that can snap the ball really quickly. How do you ensure the offense is prepared to finish drives with touchdowns early on, especially against a team like FAU that can score so fast too?
How do I ensure that? Man, if I had the answer to that, I'd be really, really sharp.
We'll both go to Vegas.
Yeah.
So we'd both go to Vegas.
I think we've just got to be us, right? We need to be us. And it doesn't mean that we're overly conservative or overly aggressive. We just go be us. We've got to be able to run the football. We got to be in, we can't be in, first down's got to be productive, obviously. We got to get ourselves in a situation where, we were not very good in the first half last week on third down, but a lot of that was because second down was bad. You know what I mean? We've got to be consistent and just go be us and put a hat on a hat, hit throws when they're there. Because we need the explosion plays. That's a big part of what we do because the ability to run the ball and then be able to hit some things off of that, they work together. So I think it's just being consistent. Obviously, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't beat ourselves. It's hard enough to beat the other team. You can't beat yourself. Um, and just be consistent on offense. And every time you get a first down, you give yourself three more chances, right? That's how we have to be. And while I'm not necessarily totally a grinded out guy, there's got to be moments where we do that, um, and pick our spots to be more aggressive. So I probably got a little impatient in the first half versus Temple. I need to make sure I don't, I need to make sure I stay within what we're doing. But at the same time, uh, you know, we got to give our playmakers a chance to make plays down the field and take some opportunities there. So I think it's just consistency. I think it's controlling what we can control, making the layups, not shooting ourselves in the foot, being consistent offense.
Navy's run game has been the backbone of success so far. That's what Hoke said. That's what's been a big factor into how they can continue to win games. But do you see this as a week where balance and maybe a little unpredictability through the air could be the key to also staying ahead?
That's always going to be us, right? It's going to be the ability to run the ball. Obviously, we have to do that here. But I think the ability to mix it up and being unpredictable protects your ability to run the ball too. So, yeah, we got to keep people on their heels, and I think we have a system where we're able to do that some because we're different, and not letting them find us, right? Whether it's the shifting or the movements or the motions and you got to have counters, you got to have all the different things. But the bottom line is somebody still got to whip somebody. Okay. We got to block, right? Got to block, got to break a tackle, got to make a throw, got to make a catch, and make plays when they're there.
What have you seen from a leadership perspective from Blake during the bye week as it relates to making sure this team stays focused and coming out sharp on that first drive this week?
Blake's just Blake. He's pretty locked in guy without being uh too over the top serious, right? He is a guy who keeps things loose. He's able to be a relaxed guy, yet he knows what the heck's going on. He's on top of things, and he challenges his teammates when they need challenging, and he's positive with his teammates. And honestly, Blake, I think really feels good physically right now. He's been very fortunate this season that he's got the bumps and bruises that go with playing football. But last year he was banged up and played through a lot. And I think he feels better physically. Um, and I just think I think he's in a good place. I think he has a good comfort level with what's going on. So I'm really excited about the back half of the season and the things he can do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Nolan.
Coach, similar to the Heisman conversation earlier, to see Blake be named as a finalist for the Campbell Trophy, how rewarding is that for you, knowing that he's not just regarded among the nation's best players, but leaders in the way that he carries himself day to day?
Absolutely. Like he is that's who he is, right? That he is his picture should probably be on that award, right? That's just when you talk about academics, he's at one of the hardest institutions in the world from an academic standpoint, and he makes all A's, right? Then he goes out and plays football at such a high level, and then he's an unbelievable leader, captain on his team, and he's a great leader amongst great leaders because we got a lot of great leaders here, right? So he's the leader of the leaders. I think he is certainly very deserving. And there's a lot of great players out there, a lot of great young men, but our guy's pretty special. And he is the most complete quarterback I've had when it comes to the skill set, uh, the um, the intelligence of a football player, the leadership of a teammate, the toughness, and then an unbelievable, academic guy. He is all that. Proud of him. That's just who he is. Just who he is, and it's good to see him to be recognized that way.
What have you enjoyed from the wide receiver room, especially since Luke went down, and who's really stepped up in your eyes?
Well, obviously you've seen Josh Guerin make some plays, seen Nathan Kent make some plays. So that's been the two guys we've pretty much gone with. Um, but that room has definitely improved and it's improved. They're more locked in. The production is there. They're doing a good job on the perimeter blocking. Um, that's been a bright spot as far as, an improvement from last year, in my opinion. Last year we didn't make a ton of plays at that position. We did some good things, don't get me wrong, but I think our quarterbacks have really gotten comfortable, and that they think those guys are going to make plays, and that's big for a quarterback to know when you throw a ball down the field. Something a lot of times guys are going to do a good job with that. So that's been really positive, and hopefully Luke is healing up pretty quickly. But that's definitely been a bonus on our offense.
And along those lines, I know Jackson's played great in spurts, but what extra element can Vic Listorti add to your backfield at running back?
Yeah, it's good to have Vic he's back and healthy. You know, Vic had a great spring and really showed speed. Vic is a talented running back. He has good speed. He can bend. Um, he can change direction. He's a strong kid, and I think he's gotten pretty comfortable with everything. We had him at snipe last year, and there just wasn't a comfort level there, but he's really gotten comfortable. So we'll see. We got to get he's got to get meaningful snaps and see how he responds. But it's good to have him back out there and with the opportunity to put him in the game some. And then obviously, Alex is healthy, having an open week and get him. So that room, now you feel like you got a healthy Alex Tesca, you got, Vic in there, and then obviously Jackson getting some meaningful reps like he has there, lets you feel like, man, you've created some depth at that position of guys who can do some things.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Wyckoff.
Coach, going into the bye week, I know Coach Newberry talked about he wanted to do a lot of messaging and let players individually know the expectations and where they needed to take it to another notch for this remainder of the season. How have your guys offensively responded to that through the bye week, now getting ready for FAU?
Well, I think our guys are pretty self-aware. They understand where we are. Obviously, we're 6-0, and that's a great thing. But it gets harder, and it's not just because of the opponents. While the opponents we're playing some very talented teams starting this weekend. Okay, it's that part's going to be a little bit of a gauntlet. Um, but we're improving every week, I think, and we understand where we are, and we understand we're going to get everybody's best shot. Okay, so when you're having a good season, people want to knock you off, and you're going to get there. They're going to prepare that way for you. They're going to be ready emotionally for you. Uh, that it's just these games become bigger and bigger, right? But the bottom line is we got to be us. We got to work to get better every week. But I think our kids understand where we are and what we need to work on. They're not uh, uh, they're not overestimating who we are. They understand what we have to do to be successful. Now you got to go out and do it, right? You got to go out and do it on Saturday. But I think they've done a good job in the open week and in this game week of preparing for the next game. And I think Coach Newberry's done a good job of managing, trying to work and get better while trying to get them healthy, trying to get their legs back, trying to, let them, hit the reset button a little bit. So I like where we are. But the bottom line is, what time we kick off Saturday? 3:30, something like that? Um,
3:32.
3:32. So from 3:32 to probably, whenever it is 6:30 or 7 o'clock, you got to play better than the other team. You got to out execute the other team. You got to play harder than they do. You got to play smarter than they do. You got to make more plays than they do. That's when it has to happen. It's hard to get it to happen if you haven't prepared the right way, but you can prepare the right way. You still got to go do it for 3 hours. And that's where our team is. And we've got to go. We can't afford, we're not, I think we have some talent on our team and as much as a lot of Navy teams have ever had, but we're never just going to roll our helmet out there and outrun everybody, out physical everybody, out big everybody, out strong. We've got to play Navy football at a high level, and we got to execute at a high level. And when we do that, we give ourselves a chance to win every week. And I think our guys, like I said, I think our guys understand that and know that that's what they have to do.
So the bye week couldn't have come at a better time for Alex. How's he responding and looking heading into FAU?
Yeah, he's got a good bounce in his step, good look in his eye. I was really proud of him because he did play. He's played a little bit banged up, obviously, and he's I think I don't know if I could say he's back to 100%, but it ain't far off. So I think the bye week came at a great time for him, and I think every week he'll be back. I think he's really close. So he's done a good job practicing and managing that. Ivan's done a good job managing him and making sure he gets the reps that he needs to be prepared. But I think Alex is ready to go.
Is this offense one that you can kind of get a sense of how they're going to play as they practice during the week, or do they throw some wild cards at you?
That's a great question. Um, I, I think you play like you practice. I do. Um, and we practice pretty consistently. Um, I'm a coach, so I want it to be perfect, right? I want it to, I don't want us to ever have any mistakes and never have any mental lapses and all those things. So I don't know. I expect us to go execute. I expect us to go play well. I think our guys expect that to happen. But once again, you still gotta go do it. And there's times where we've had some self-inflicted things that kept us from separating in some of these games. But we've also had some guys make plays when we really needed it. So some of that's balanced out. But the bottom line is, like I said, 3 hours on a Saturday, got to get it done.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Let's see. I lost track. Wags. Sorry, Wags. Wags.
I lost track too. So in terms of improvement, I mean, obviously the offense is clicking and playing well and putting up numbers. I mean, on the surface, there's really not anything. You're throwing the ball well. You're running the ball well. I mean, I guess the pre-snap penalties, but what do you see that could be improved?
Yeah, I just think it's the overall. I think for any time, for a coach, it's overall consistency, um, and uh, hopefully we've improved. You're always talking about fundamentals. By the time you get on the back half of the season, hard for the fundamentals to take a whole lot of steps forward. It's really just understanding scheme, understanding who you're playing against, understanding what they're doing schematically, um, and then just being us. And so the bottom line is we can't go out and have turnovers, right? We just can't do that. When we don't turn the ball over, we have ended up on the right side of it for the most part. And I don't think we had a turnover versus Temple. So if we have a turnover, we probably lose that game. So you can't turn the ball over. And then for us, we've got to consistently get first downs and stay on the field. And I think for me, that's kind of how you measure. Don't turn the ball over. Be efficient on third down, and then in the red zone, finish. Okay, that's if you do those three things, then you're going to have a chance to be on the field to score points and to win the game ultimately. And you're going to end up playing complementary football, and that's what we have to do here. So I would say that's how after a game, did Did we take care of the ball? Did we not shoot ourselves in the foot, right? Uh, did we stay on the field? Did we finish in the red zone? That's kind of how we look at it, and we got to do that consistently. If we're not doing those things, it's tough to win.
When you're playing a team that has a potent offense like FAU that also, runs a lot of plays, runs them fast. I mean, you want to help your defense, as you mentioned, complementary football. Do you, as an offensive coordinator, say, it'd be really good if we could kind of hog the ball here a little bit and give our defense a break? Or do you just, is it the same mindset as always, score however we can score?
Well, I think scoring is a premium always, right? But there's sometimes that offensively to work ourselves into a rhythm, we have to grind a little bit too. The thing for us is it's always going to be this way at Navy. We got to play complementary football, and that's all three phases, which means we've got to take care of the ball, not put our defense in bad situations. And if it's eating up clock, that's fine. I don't always know that that's necessarily the determining factor, but it's being productive, getting first downs and coming away with points. Okay. Now, if a one play drive is a touchdown, it's hard for me to get too upset about that. But for us, it's being able to consistently move the football and come away with points here and there. And sometimes that, if it's a field goal, sometimes it's a field goal. And at the very least, put some first downs together. 3 and outs are just devastating. It puts our defense right back on the field. We haven't, got to sink our teeth into, because we talk about taking their defense out into deep water, right? That means we're keeping the ball, we're grinding through. You're trying to, the more they're having to be on the field, right? Those things all add up. So it's us being on the field, our defense not being on the field, us winning the hidden yardage and special teams. I think that's always going to be the formula here is the complementary football. And the offense obviously is a big part of that.
Thanks, Drew.
Yep.
Wyatt.
Coach, as you talk a lot about now playing complementary football, protecting the football, as this offense continues to grow, how have you seen the offense grow in its ability to anticipate what opposing defenses are showing, especially when you need to get points on the board early?
Well, you don't always know going into the game, right? I mean, you don't you can you study film, you go with what you think is going to happen, and then you have to adjust, okay? Because everybody's going to, just like they got to adjust to us, anything that they haven't seen, right? That's just part of the chess match, the ability to adjust within the game. So you game plan based off what you think you're going to see and what they've been showing, and then you got to have answers when you don't get exactly what you think. And so you hope what we do settles people down a little bit defensively, right? Where they can, because they got to play assignment football, right? They've got to make sure they don't turn somebody loose. And they got to, there's just certain things defensively you've got to make sure you protect against if you're playing against a team that can run some option and all that. Just like there's certain things you got to protect against if you're playing a team that throws it 70 times, right? You got to understand what you're dealing with. And so for us, we try to put together a plan that builds on what we've already done, that is able to attack what we think we're going to see, and then the ability to adjust in the game if it's something a little different that they've tweaked. And like I said, but that's pretty much every offensive team has got to be able to kind of do those things. So we got pretty smart kids, and I think our offensive staff, we got a lot of guys on our staff that got a lot of experience, and I think we've done a good job of making some adjustments. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I just kind of listen to the other guys and then go call some stuff. That's what you got to do. You got to be able to adjust and it's a game of adjustments, and then they'll adjust a little defensively, and then you try to adjust again, and that's just part of the back and forth.
Wanted to ask you a little bit more about what's like been working with Hoke. How have you seen him grow from the 3 starts he got last year to how he's working on the offensive line this year to protect 11 back there?
Yeah, Hoke is a really outstanding young man. He loves being a midshipman, loves being a Navy football player, loves being a Navy offensive lineman. And Hoke is an extremely intelligent football player. He understands what we're trying to do. He kind of can help the guys around him. he has a voice there. And he's worked his way through some injuries, over his time here. But we know that how important it is to Hoke. Okay, this is important to him. His teammates are important to him. Us being successful is important to him, and he's done a really good job up there. It's not easy up there up front with those guys. Okay, that's a tough life sometimes. Those offensive linemen, and obviously he's been a voice in that room and a good. He and Ben Purvis have led that room, and done a fantastic job.
And is there anything different about preparing for a defense led by a head coach who's in his first season with the program? I know Casey Keeler for Temple, first season. Now it's another first-year head coach to face. I'm curious, is there anything different about that when it comes to preparing?
Well, obviously, we haven't gone against this coordinator before, so obviously, there's some unknowns there. The more you play each other, the more you see the same staff or the same coordinator, the more of a chess match sometimes it can become because so what they did it this way this game when you play them the second time, with Temple, we'd actually kind of played that coordinator before because he'd been the coordinator at Rice, and then we played Rice this year, which kind of was still using a similar system. So now we're going against a guy that we really hadn't gone against, and they're doing a nice job defensively. They're well coached. They got those kids playing hard and playing with some fundamentals, so it'll be our. They probably know a little bit more about us than we do about them in some ways. But they do a nice job, and we'll have to make some adjustments when we get out there.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Tim Nolan.
Just one more for me, Coach. What kind of a find can Malcolm Johnson become? A talented tackle who just continues to show he's a freak of nature out there in drills.
Well, you're gonna see Malcolm some this week, I would think. And Malcolm is obviously has a very high ceiling. But he's got to get there and play some. And you can see in practice that he has some ability. He's got length and he can move his feet and do some things. Yeah, I mean that's you try to sign as many of those type of guys as you can and develop them, right? I mean the kid 2 years ago was playing wide receiver at his high school in Utah. Okay, so it was, and I think it may have been his first year playing football, right? So I've been really impressed with, first of all, the way he's continued to put size on, but I've been very impressed with his willingness to be physical, to go attack it, to embrace what an offensive lineman is and what he does. Yeah, he's I think he's got a really bright future. And he's a very intelligent young man, really good kid, comes from a really good family. I remember going out to Utah to visit him in his home, and it was like, whoa, look at this big tall kid. And I thought he'd probably be a tight end at the time, and then he goes up to naps, and heck, all of a sudden he's 280 pounds, and so he's just one of them guys that and he has developed. He has chosen to work hard and to embrace that position change and all that goes with that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm was also a second team All-State basketball player as well, so he's an athlete.
Yep.
Any other questions for Coach? Wags, I know you got one more. You got to unmute yourself, though.
Well, just going back to Victor Lastordi, I mean, I know he's been back and practicing, but I mean, are you prepared to put him in a game now?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Alex is our guy, but I think you'll see Vic some. It depends. It's hard to always say how many snaps or but I think he's to the point now from a health standpoint and just from a getting back into it because he missed a long time, right? I mean, you literally got hurt like the fourth day of August camp. And so good Lord, August, September, October, 3 months, right? Where are we right now? What date is this? October 22nd, something?
Yeah, October 22nd.
Yeah, so like 2.5 months. So so he's been really practicing with us for maybe three, it just takes some time, 2 to 3 weeks to get yourself back kind of in football shape and just get back in the groove. And yes, I think he's there, right? We'll just kind of see how the game goes.
So if Vic comes back and plays and looks good, do you move Jackson back to quarterback full time, or do you think you'll continue to use Jackson at fullback?
Yeah, I think I want to see Vic play some more. I think, right now we're kind of cross training Jackson. But I still think Jackson has to be ready to play some B back, and he's done a good job playing B back. So I think we just kind of continue to have him oiled up there, and while we're still working some at quarterback, I think we got to keep him in that, with the B back some as well.
Anyone else? All right.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks a
All
lot,
right.
Coach.
Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. See you at practice tonight.